A set of all-terrain tires now runs close to $900 installed, the most you've ever paid for 4 pieces of rubber in your life. 2 tires off the same rack, same size, same brand. One rides smooth for 60,000 miles, the other starts thumping through the steering wheel by 20,000, and you blame the road every time. You think that's just bad luck? Except on July 21st, 2026, it stopped being just bad luck. Mavis Tire Express Services paid $700 million for Pep Boys, folded it straight into a family that already had 9 other names on the door. And most of these 11 stores are counting on you never checking whose name is actually on the paycheck. So we ran a test. 11 tire stores. Walmart, Costco, Sam's Club, and 8 more held to one standard. 3 questions, no exceptions. 8 stores fail or earn a warning. 3 pass. We pulled ownership filings, franchise papers, and a $700 million receipt to back every word in this video. Let's open the file. Worst, number 8 and number 7. Tires Plus and Firestone Complete Auto Care. You never fully trusted the small lot with the generic name. Good instinct. Now meet the machinery your gut was already picking up on. Most people assume a tire shop is one of 2 things: a local business or a corporate chain with the name spelled out on some building far away. There's a third option almost nobody's taught to look for: a franchise. That word sounds like ownership. It rarely is. A franchise agreement lets someone pay for the right to use a name, follow a script, and sell what corporate tells them to sell. The building might be run by a local guy who genuinely loves the work, who's been fixing flats in that same bay for 20 years. The brand, the pricing, and the tires on the wall almost never are his to decide. Corporate sets the margins from a state he's never visited. And a growing number of these local shops are franchises owned by a company that owns a dozen other chains you've also driven past without knowing it. The sign out front was never built to tell you any of that. It was built to make you stop asking, and most people do, because who has time to interrogate a tire store? So, 2 quick verdicts to set the floor. Tires Plus first, the no surprise lot. Owned, start to finish, by Bridgestone, the same company that makes the tire on the wall behind the counter, right where you're standing. 0 for 3. Nobody walked in expecting a truly independent shop from a name this generic in the first place. It fails on emptiness, not betrayal. Then Firestone, the actual betrayal. This one carries 100 years of American heritage in the name, Complete Auto Care, printed right on the building like a promise of independence and expertise you can trust. It's also just Bridgestone, wearing a bigger, older costume, cashing commissions from the same warehouse. 0 for 3, and this one stings more, because the name asked for more trust than the other one ever did. To be fair to both, the install work is solid, and Bridgestone's own all-terrain tire, the Dueler, holds up fine for years on plenty of trucks. The tire isn't the problem. The advice standing next to it is, and you'll never spot it from the waiting room chair. Worse, number 6. Big O Tires, and you'd swear it's the exception. Somebody's actual name is hand-painted on the sign, sponsoring the Little League team down the street, maybe even the guy who coaches your kid. It's a franchise, which sounds independent. Look at who's really behind it. Half the company belongs to Sumitomo Corporation of Americas. The other half belongs to Michelin, the same company that owns BF Goodrich. One of the most trusted all-terrain names out there, the tire half your job site is already running. To be fair, that ownership means real backing behind every warranty claim, more than most true local shops can offer when something actually breaks. But you'd never guess a giant tire company owns half the boardroom from the parking lot, the sponsorship banners, or the guy behind the counter who might genuinely know your name and never once mention who signs his checks. Worse, number 5. Tire Kingdom. Sounds like the biggest name on the block, almost like it's been around forever. It's actually owned by someone else, and fairly new to it. Mavis Tire Express Services bought every Tire Kingdom store back in 2023 and folded them straight into a growing family you're about to see get a lot bigger. The tires are fine, the service is just average, the kind of stop that blends into every other errand that day and you forget by dinner. Not the villain of this list. Just a name on a much bigger organization chart, one you're about to hear a lot more about, wearing a lot more signs, in a lot more parking lots you've already driven past. Worse, number 4. It's Twin, NTB, National Tire and Battery. It used to belong to Sears, back when that name meant something in a parking lot. Not anymore. NTB got sold in that same 2023 deal, into the same company that now owns Tire Kingdom too. Same office, same score, for the same reason. Here's what that means for you in real life. You drive past an NTB, don't love the wait time on the board, cross the street to a Tire Kingdom instead, feeling smart for shopping around, proud of yourself even. You just paid the exact same company twice and never knew it. That's not competition. That's one store wearing a second costume so you feel like you had a choice. And the sad part is, it worked, right up until now. Worse, number 3. Mavis Discount Tire. This one doesn't even bother with a costume. It's the store the parent company put its own name on, the flagship, sitting right next to the last 2 stores in the same family. In this year's customer survey, it scored near the very bottom, right next to the other 2 stores it shares an owner with. 3 different logos on 3 different shirts, and 1 report card underneath all of them, failing the same way in every city we checked. Remember that number. It's about to get company. If these tests are keeping you from getting steered toward the wrong tire by the wrong guy, hit subscribe right now, because the next 3 minutes are exactly why we started running these tests. Here's the first receipt. That one company doesn't stop at 3 stores. The full list as of this year also includes Mavis Tires and Brakes, Midas, Express Oil Change and Tire Engineers, Brakes Plus, Town Fair Tire, and Tuffy. 8 names, 8 signs, 8 coupons landing in your mailbox on 8 different weeks, one company writing every single paycheck behind all of it. This year, they added Pet Boys, the name from the top of this video, for $700 million, straight out of Carl Icahn's hands. That's 9 stores now, all pretending to compete with each other, all really working for the same boss, cashing checks from the same account. Second receipt, and this one's about the tires themselves, not just the stores. Walk down the wall at any of these 11, and it looks like a real lineup. Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Firestone, Goodyear, Douglas, Kelly, Cooper. 8 names staring back like 8 companies fighting for your money. Strip the labels off and count the actual owners. Michelin makes Michelin and BF Goodrich, both. Bridgestone makes Bridgestone and Firestone, both. Goodyear makes Goodyear, Kelly, Douglas, and since 2021, Cooper too, all 4. That's not 8 companies on that wall, that's 3, wearing 8 jackets. You could stand there for 20 minutes comparing tread patterns and warranty cards and still be choosing between the same 3 boardrooms the whole time. Third receipt, and this one explains the number at the top of this video, the one that made you wince before this video even started. Nearly 80% of the world's natural rubber comes from plantations in 4 countries: Thailand, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Vietnam. And this year those plantations are running a supply gap of roughly 400,000 tons. The reason is almost boring, which somehow makes it worse. The trees are simply getting old, past their best tapping years, all at the same time, across the same stretch of the world, with no quick way to replant and catch up. Less rubber coming out of the ground, more tires needed to go on the road every single year. None of the 11 stores on this list caused that. Not one of them. But every single one of them is going to let you believe the price is about them, when the truth is sitting on a plantation 8,000 miles away that none of them control either. One more receipt, and this one's a confession we're saving for later in this video. One of the 11 stores on this list sells a house brand tire built by a name you'd never guess in a million years. A name that also builds one of the most respected premium tires in the country. Remember that. It detonates in just a few minutes. Worse, number 2, Pet Boys. It just changed hands into that same company, and the timing tells its own story. For about 10 years, Pet Boys belonged to Icahn Enterprises. Back in 2015, Bridgestone actually tried to buy it outright and lost the bidding war. Whatever Pet Boys becomes now, it's starting from the very bottom of this year's rankings, already there before the sale even closed, right next to the flagship store you just heard about, like it inherited the position along with the paperwork. To be fair, Pet Boys carries a genuinely wide brand lineup: Cooper, Pirelli, Michelin, Goodyear, all under one roof. Wider selection than most of the Bridgestone-owned stores already covered. That didn't save it from the bottom of the list, which tells you selection was never really the problem here. 8 stores down, 1 left before the worst of it. Worse, number 1. The confession we promised you a few minutes ago: Walmart Auto Care Centers. Millions of Americans are already standing inside a Walmart every single week, buying milk, buying tires almost as an afterthought while the cart's still half full. This year's customer survey put Walmart's tire service among the very worst in the country, tied with Pep Boys and the company you just heard about. 0 for 3 on service alone. The store you're already in every week for a birthday card is measured as one of the worst places in America to get tires put on your truck. Not the worst place to buy the tire itself, the worst place to actually get 4 of them mounted and get sent on your way. Here's the twist. Walmart's own house tire, called Douglas, isn't some mystery product from a factory nobody can name. Goodyear makes it, on the same American lines that build Goodyear's own premium Wrangler tires, under a deal running quietly since 1992. Read that again. The cheap tire in the Walmart lot and the pricey tire on a brand new Jeep can roll off the exact same line, in the exact same week, maybe stacked on the exact same pallet before they got split up. The tire itself passes question 1 clean, no trick in the rubber, a real Goodyear tire at a real low price. It's the building around it that keeps failing you, appointment after appointment, Saturday after Saturday. You can walk out with a well-built, honestly priced tire and still burn 3 hours of your weekend getting it mounted, watching the number on the board not move for 40 minutes. So here's the move that flips this whole item, the one thing that beats every store on this list at its own game. Buy the Douglas tire online, ship it to the store for pickup, and skip Walmart's own install counter completely. Take it 2 minutes down the road to any independent shop and pay them $15 or $20 to mount it instead. You get the exact same Goodyear-built tire off the exact same line as the premium Wrangler. You skip the 3-hour wait completely, the kid asking when you're leaving, the number on the board that never moves. The tire was never the problem here, and now you know exactly how to keep it that way. 2 for 3, and you just found the one move that beats the score entirely. Time for the good news. 8 stores down, 8 versions of the same problem, wearing different signs, different colors, different mascots. 3 of these 11 actually earned a pass, and not by luck, and not by accident either. Best, number 3. Discount Tire, also called America's Tire out west. It doesn't build a single tire and doesn't answer to Bridgestone, Michelin, or the company behind Pep Boys when deciding what goes on the shelf. Still mostly owned by the family who started it in 1960. 3 for 3, no house tire competing for shelf space, no owner's factory that needs its inventory moved first before yours gets a fair look. That's why it stops some of the widest all-terrain selection on this list. BF Goodrich, Falcon, Toyo, Nitto, right alongside the majors, with nobody's thumb on the recommendation. To be fair, Discount Tire's been buying up other companies too. Tire Rack, Dunn Tire and Auto, a Chicago chain called Suburban Tire, all in the last few years. Independent doesn't mean small anymore. It means nobody upstream is telling them which tire to push. Best, number 2, Sam's Club, owned by Walmart. The exact same Walmart whose auto care centers just tied for dead last a few minutes ago. And yet Sam's Club's tire program feels like a completely different company altogether. Free rotation, balancing, and flat repair for the life of the tire, built into the price, plus 4 full years of roadside help, towing, gas delivery, and lockouts included, no extra charge. Things Walmart's own centers simply don't offer, right down the road from each other sometimes. 2.5 for 3, strong on ownership since it doesn't push its own house tire either, but it still leans toward whichever brand pays for the best shelf spot that quarter, which keeps it short of a perfect score. Same parent as the worst store on this list. A completely different experience once you're actually in the chair, watching the clock. Best, number 1, Costco. It earns the top spot the hard way, by being picky about what it even lets on the shelf. 5 brands, and only 5. Michelin, BF Goodrich, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Pirelli. Remember that 8 names 3 companies math from a few minutes ago? Run it again here. That 5 brand wall is really just 3 manufacturers Costco trusts enough to sell it all. Nothing else allowed anywhere near the shelf. 3 for 3. Free installation, a 5-year road hazard warranty, free rotation and balancing for life. Standard, no upsell required to get the real coverage. To be fair, no true budget option for the tightest wallets, an appointment system that regularly runs 2 to 4 hours behind, and a membership fee just to walk in the door, tires or not. On pure independence, Discount Tire wins, and we'll say that plainly, no hedging. It answers our 3 questions cleaner than anyone else on this list. But on total package, free service that actually gets delivered every time instead of just promised, and a wall that was already filtered down to manufacturers worth trusting before you even walked in, Costco takes the top spot. Different kind of winning, both real. 11 stores, 3 real passes. 3 of those 8 failures shared the exact same owner and scored the exact same way in every city we checked. That's not bad luck striking 3 times in a row. That's what happens every time the name on the door stops deciding your price, stops meaning anything at all about who you're actually dealing with. Remember those 2 trucks from the start of this video? $640 and $890? Same tire, same day? The gap wasn't luck. It was one guy walking into a store that could have answered our 3 questions honestly, and one guy walking into a store that couldn't, and neither of them ever knew it at the time. So that's the machine behind all 11 of these names. Now let's arm you against it. Run our 3-question test at any counter before you sign anything or hand over a card. Question 1. Does this store manufacture the tire it's pushing on you? Under the hood, that's a conflict question. A store that makes its own tire has already picked a winner before you walked in, and every recommendation from that point on is really just inventory management wearing a friendly voice. A store that answers no to this one is a store with nothing to gain from steering you toward one brand over another. Question 2. Who actually owns this building, not the name painted on the sign? Ownership tells you who trains the staff, who sets the bonus structure, and who decides what's really on that wall. A locally owned feeling is not the same thing as local ownership, and this whole video just proved it, 11 times over. Question 3. What do real customers say happened after they paid, not before? Not the reviews on the store's own website, not the coupon that got you in the door today. The independent surveys, the ones that ask people how the appointment actually went, weeks after the sale, once the salesman's charm has worn off. A store that answers all 3 honestly has nothing to hide from you. A store that dodges even one has already told you everything you need to know. Then run the check no store can talk you out of. Every tire has a date stamped right into the rubber, molded in, not printed on a sticker that can peel off. Look on the sidewall for 4 numbers, usually inside an oval, the last 4 digits of a longer code. The first 2 are the week, the last 2 are the year. A tire stamped 0224 was built in the 2nd week of 2024, no matter what you're told about it being fresh stock off the truck this morning. Tires age even sitting still in a warehouse, the rubber slowly hardening whether they've ever touched a road or not. Most mechanics agree a tire built more than 6 years ago belongs nowhere near your truck, no matter how much tread is left on it. This takes 10 seconds, and it works at every single store on this list, the good ones and the bad ones alike, because rubber doesn't care whose name is on the sign. One more move, and it's the one people skip because it feels rude to ask. Before you pay, get the free stuff in writing. Rotation, balancing, flat repair, roadside help, whatever they promised you standing there. A verbal promise from a guy you'll never see again isn't worth the 10 seconds it took to say it. A line on your receipt is. That's the difference between a store keeping its word and a store hoping you forgot. Here's the ladder, top to bottom, for any counter you walk up to this weekend. Best, no house tire to push, mostly independent, and top customer ratings to back it up when you check. Next, doesn't make its own tires, but still owned by somebody bigger upstream, worth a second look before you trust the locally owned feeling. Next, makes the exact tire it's pushing on you. Take the advice if it genuinely fits your truck, then check the price somewhere else before you sign. Last resort, a store owned by a store owned by a store, wearing its 3rd costume this year, sitting at the bottom of every customer survey out there. Ask the 3 questions, check the date code, get the free stuff in writing. Do those 3, and it stops mattering whose name is on the sign. You'll know exactly what you're buying, and exactly who's selling it to you, before you're the guy who paid $890 for the tire your buddy got for $640. A list like this goes stale, the second one of these companies buys another one. A test you run yourself never does. If this changed how you'll walk into your next tire appointment, hit like. It helps this reach the next person about to overpay for a costume they never asked to see. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because we check a different aisle's ownership every single week, and half the time we're surprised too, even after doing this for a while. Tell us in the comments, which of these 11 fooled you the longest? The generic sounding lot, the century-old name with an out-of-state boss, or the store you're already inside every week for groceries, never once wondering who ran the counter in the back? Send this to whoever in your life is about to buy tires this month with no idea how many of these 11 names lead back to the same 3 or 4 companies cashing the same checks. Next week, we check a different aisle you walk through almost every day and ask the same 3 questions all over again. Bring your receipt. The costume can't fool you anymore.